This is Barry and Eric again from Moss Pond. Tonight's gun facts is going to be Mindpower versus Firepower. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means if you don't even have to have a loaded gun or whatever to defend yourself with one if you have the right attitude. Now, if you remember the 2005 classic Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects, Sherry Moon Zombie had a 1911 that Priscilla Barnes got away from her. And Priscilla Barnes said, "I'm going to kill you." And she said, "Well, go ahead and shoot me." The gun didn't have any ammunition in it. And she said, "That's mind power because there's no bullets in the gun." But she was convinced that there were because she had already seen somebody get their head blown off earlier that day with a .45. So she naturally assumed that Sherry Moon's gun was loaded, but it wasn't. The pimp pulled his shotgun on Captain Spaulding in the same movie, and it turned out to be a water gun. But he had them convinced that it was real. So people want to know about, I've mentioned before that I've had to pull a gun twice in my life. Well, one was at Cowart's Lake. This happened about 30 years ago. That was number one. Okay. I was at the lake fishing. I had my Jeep parked at the top of the hill, and I had my .45 hidden in the bushes nearby. I didn't want the gun on me. So I turned around to go back to my vehicle, and there's four guys standing there like this, between me and my vehicle, like this, looking at me. I could already hear banjo music. So I reached over in the bushes, got my 1911, carried a 1911 back in those days, and I started walking straight for them. When I got about halfway there, two went that way, two went that way. Never saw them again. The gun didn't even have to be loaded, but it was the attitude that I had. They knew they were about to get shot if they didn't move. Now, the second time I had to pull a gun, it was a domestic dispute between a relative of mine at his house. Well, he physically attacked me, and I took my .38 revolver, stuck it in his belly, and he immediately backed off. Every time you pull a gun with the right attitude, you're going to change the tide right then and there. And I told him I was going to kill him, and he believed it. So he ceased and desist. I went to jail over that one. He took out a warrant on me for terroristic threats. I had to go to jail and get all that cleared up. But the charges were dropped. But both these cases, the gun didn't even have to be loaded. It's the attitude. There are three things you have to do to survive. Number one, you got to have guts. Number two, you've got to have attitude. The proper attitude. And if that doesn't work, proper shot placement. If you've got these two, you probably won't need that one. But you have to convince them if you're fixing to act on what you're saying. Never bluff with a gun. Never. Never do that. Now, here's a case of mind power. I had an uncle named James Thomas. He was a career criminal. He was FBI's 10 most wanted list in Atlanta, Georgia. They called him Hot Car, also known as Hot Car, also known as Jake the Snake. This guy was a career criminal. He spent half his life in prison. Him and my dad were riding down the road one day, and he said, "Pull into this store." My dad pulled in. He said, "Wait here." When he went in, he picked up a sack off the side of the road and put it in his pocket. And my dad's thinking to himself, what in the hell is he doing? He came back about 2 minutes later and said, "Let's get the hell out of here." He stuck his hand in the sack and robbed the place. Like that. He bluffed. And he got some money and they got the hell out of there. But that was a long time ago and both of them are dead now. But anyway, that's a case of mind power. And you have to remember back in those days, if you robbed a place, they would probably comply because they knew you weren't going to harm them. Now you rob a store. If you don't have enough money, they shoot you. If you resist them, they shoot you, and they might shoot you out of sheer meanness. So the best thing for you to do, you react. I told Mr. Moss when I came to work here, if somebody pulls a gun on us, I'm going for mine. And he said, "Go for it, Barry, because they're probably going to shoot us anyway." So anyway, they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Your attitude is the window to your guts. They can tell by your attitude whether you're serious or not. Now, we're going back over this one more time. Guts, attitude, proper shot placement. Those are the three keys to survival. But you gotta have, if everything else fails, you gotta go for this. We've already proven it, the FBI has proven it. No matter what caliber gun you carry, proper shot placement will get the job done. Now, a 22 in the head is better than a 45 in the foot. It's a better stopper. But shot placement, you can talk about hollow points, expanding bullets, or whatever you want to. It always comes down to shot placement, if you have to do that. So, what we're going to do now, I'd like to mention too, maybe you notice I'm carrying this little Springfield XD. This gun, I took it to the range the other day. It was so accurate. I'm carrying this instead of my Glock from now on. Now I want to show you this gun. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! It ain't even real. It's fake. So, there you have it. Did you believe I had a real gun? Folks? Well, that's an example of Mindpower, folks, and I hope this will give you something to think about. But remember, you can't cower when somebody is trying to hurt you or whatever. Don't back off. Stand your ground. That's why they call it the stand your ground law. But let them know, if you see something developing, you cut to the chase and you nip it right there. You don't fool around with it, because these people will kill you and they will see your hesitation. So that's going to be the gun facts for this week, and we appreciate y'all tuning in with us, and me and Eric appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope y'all have a good evening.